Welcome to the Building Newfoundland and Labrador podcast, dedicated to exploring the interesting journeys of the people in the provincial construction industry. Presented by the Newfoundland and Labrador Construction Association, produced by Gale Force Winds. Join us as we chat with the inspirational individuals that ensure the continued growth of the construction industry and the province of Newfoundland and Labrador.
And welcome to the Building Newfoundland and Labrador podcast. What a great day it's been today. We've had a lot of great conversations, I can tell you right now. Certainly eager to get into the next one. This is going to be an exciting conversation. I'm Alan Dale. With me as always, my good buddy Jerry Carew. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
So my name is Carl Dymond. I come from Torbay originally, born 1978. I was in the military for 18 years of my life. Got hurt and retired, and then started my own business from there.
So you left the military after being medically released, and then you started your own thing. What did you do in the military?
I was a communication research operator, a 291er we used to call it before the MOCs changed.
Right.
So I did counterterrorism, counterinsurgency, a lot of signals intelligence kind of work all over the world.
Yeah. Was that a boyhood dream, or how did you find your way into that?
I wanted to be in the FBI when I was younger, not knowing the difference.
Right.
I said, I want to work towards intelligence. I went to the recruiting center. I was a commissioned officer at the time, and I said, I want to do something that's different. So I qualified for a bunch of different trades. They showed me one where the guys had these big sunglasses on, a handlebar mustache, and like, why haven't they updated their video yet? Yeah. He's like, oh, those are spooks, they're secret squirrels, they don't do that kind of stuff. I was like, that's a trade I want. I got into it. They said I was going to go to Bermuda and Alert. Yeah. Of course, by the time I got in, all those places were automated, but the recruiting package wasn't updated for that trade.
Right.
So we sort of worked that out. But I mean, I made a fantastic career for myself. I loved it.
Did you?
Oh yeah, I got to see everything I wanted to see, do everything I wanted to do. Right. I really enjoyed my time in the military. Fortunately, I was medically released, so I didn't have a choice to get out.
Yeah.
But I was finally released in 2016 and started my business literally the next day.
Wow.
Seriously, the next day?
The next day.
Is it something that was percolating in your head for years, or how did it?
What does an out-of-work spook do? I don't really know.
Yeah.
So it's I got to figure out something. So I went after the big fish. I was on long-term disability when I first got out, so I didn't have to find those contracts to keep the lights on. I was already getting paid from the military for Veterans Affairs, so it really gave me a lot of time to grow, to go after the hatches, to go after the big companies like that I wanted to work with. So I was very aggressive and just put my name out there. What can you do? Whatever you want us to do. We started doing travel risk management for them, going overseas, working in places like Gabon and Mozambique, helping them with travel risk management, the meet and greets at the airports, the security personnel protection details while we were there. And then from there, we just expanded.
Wow. So how do you find yourself here today? What are we involved in now?
Well, what we did is working with Hatch, opened it up to the big 13 mining companies. We looked at ways to increase security up north. They knew we were doing something with surveillance on drones and stuff, but they weren't the big drones we were designing these days. These were smaller ones, surveillance drones. We were looking for deforestation patterns, animal migration patterns, ice flows, stuff like that. So when they said, do you make bigger drones that can carry cargo? Absolutely, I can. So we found a company in Spain that actually built drones that carry, say, 4,000 pounds of cargo.
Wow.
It didn't work out with them, but we built a lot of IP for ourselves in that process. From there, we went to the mining companies up north and said, how can we make your operations more efficient? How can we save money? How can we help you guys do business better in what you're doing? Bringing in green initiatives, all that stuff. One mining company in particular to say, we're spending 93,000 hours a flight to bring cargo up north. I said, well, I can do it for a quarter of that right off the bat. Here's what we're proposing to design. They helped us with the design, how we can bring actual sea cans into drones. 40 foot, 220 feet. If we push table and chairs out of the way, we can fit a 53 foot on the inside. So, and even with the trailer and wheels attached. So we designed those drones on purpose so that we could appeal to those mining companies. With doing that, then giving them just-in-time materials where we could ship any time of the year, not just during the 3 months of a shipping season.
Right.
Because right now they can only do 3 months out of a year. The other 12, they have to have everything put up, and then that's what they work out the rest of the year. Well, let's do this so we can work out just-in-time materials. So we could do shipments 12 months out of a year. They don't have to worry about bringing up drill bits and paying $93,000 a flight for a drill bit. We can do it for $15,000 a flight, or even cheaper. and things like that. Like, and being unmanned, you don't have to worry about housing pilots. You don't have to worry about any of the insurances that come around with that. So us having automated systems, or at least remotely piloted systems, gave these mining operations a lot more latitude in how they were to receive stock up north. That's how we looked
Which
at
is
it.
a huge challenge,
We,
right?
we war gamed it entirely, and it was a big challenge.
Yeah.
We ended up saving a mining company almost $350,000 a day just by efficiencies and reducing the size of their work camp to what's just in time needed. And that they were over the moon on that stuff.
A day.
A
That's
day.
incredible.
Honestly, they had 7,500 people on a mine site, $5,000 an hour. So if you're getting out of bed, you're going to the mess hall, you're going to the bathroom, go to the mess hall, only picking up a sandwich to walk on your way to your office. By the time you get there, that's an hour just in transit. And that's at $5,000 an hour, 7,500 people. That's almost 350,000 bucks, just in a base cost. If we can reduce that to a 15-minute walk instead of an hour, there you go. That's your savings right there.
How did you reduce it?
Just by doing that, by reducing the work camp size.
Oh, just by reducing
Yeah.
the size.
Yep. So their transit was not
You
an
just
hour, it
walk
was
in there
15
and
minutes.
it's just, wow.
They were dumbfounded. They're like, how did we not think of that before? I
They're
don't
too
know.
busy concentrating on, right, getting
Yeah.
stuff out of the ground or whatever it was doing. You come in, you look at it through a different lens.
Outside the box.
Right, you look
Which
at it
I have
as-
no idea what I'm doing, kind of thing.
Right.
That's how we do it.
Oh, wow, right? That's disruptive stuff.
Yep.
Saves a lot of money.
That's right.
Makes life easier for the guys that are working up there.
Then
win-win,
and
right?
being disruptive in the drones that we build, like we do a completely novel program. So my designers that all used to work at Bombardier way back designed the Q400. Now they're our team. Now they design these autonomous drones for us that we can fit those sea cans inside of. So we can carry up 35 to 50,000 pounds of cargo in one flight. But we can do it so much cheaper. If we do it 25,000 to 93,000 a flight, that's almost a quarter of the price. We can get it even lower. We can reduce the cost per pound to 75 cents a pound.
Carol, I have a quick.
Go ahead.
I went to Gonzaga. You went to Gonzaga.
I went to
I went to Holy
Brother
Trinity. I went to Holy Trinity.
You went to, oh. I said they didn't cover this in Gonzaga, but anyway, where does this thought process come from? Why are you thinking like this in these disruptive ways?
I don't know, because I only have my high school. I didn't go to university or college.
Yeah.
I'd learned a lot from the military. I learned a lot about how the logistics of war works. But for me, I'm just looking at stuff as like, why can't we do it this way? And someone said, well, we never done it that way before. Then why can't we? Like when we designed our mining trucks, we wanted the mining trucks to be brought up north. I'm like, how do you move like a Komatsu size mining truck up north? Well, let's build it like a Lego. Let's do it so we can dismantle it, put it into a sea can, put it into our drone, and fly it up north. Take a week and a half to assemble it. So on a regular mining truck, a Komatsu, a Lieberman, a Caterpillar, a 4-hour tire change, a 4-hour oil change. Well, let's build it out in a way that we can do a Formula One pit stop, where we take off the entire wheel assembly and just put a new one on. Then we take the old one and we fix it. But we have all these reserves, and same with the batteries. When you're bringing 1.5 million pounds of dirt uphill, you're wearing out that battery. You can't get that reciprocal charge downhill. So when they come up, we just switch out their battery and let them go down with a full battery. All that stuff. But we want to be able to do things in certain ways. And I was a big Lego guy when I was younger. Lego were my thing. And I was like, I would take a red brick and put in a blue brick house just to see what it looked like, and then I'd build a pattern out of that. So we design all of our tools that we use in ways that it's like a Lego block. I even applied to Lego when I left the military. I was like, if this business thing don't work, I'll become a master builder somewhere. And the Lego movie came out, and all of a sudden everyone's doing it.
Right.
But that's what I want to do is that gave me such a way to think outside the box. And we ask a lot of why not. And I don't have any aerospace degree. I don't have any kind of mining degree. I don't have anything except for my high school and knowing how to catch bad guys.
Right.
I said there's got to be ways to make this world more efficient. For us, with our northern initiatives, by bringing food, reducing cost of living in the north, it just makes sense to us that why is someone in Cambridge Bay paying $45 for a head of lettuce? Because everyone in the supply chain has to take their cut. When that leaves Montreal, that goes to a warehouse who adds price on, and to an airline adds their price on, adds a distribution center adds their price on. For us, having the vertical integration of owning the airports A to B, the aircraft on the inside, having our own greenhouses to grow this stuff, that's our full vertical integration where we can reduce the cost by 90% of some of the food we can bring up north. And there's nothing wrong with doing that.
No. How did Stephenville get into your orbit?
Honestly, I was downstairs getting some orange juice for my daughter. She was 3 at the time, and she was just flipping through channels, and Smithsonian Channel came on, and Canada Over the Edge is a show that I watch regularly. Anyway, I just
I get
love
addicted
it.
to that too.
Oh, it's just beautiful.
My
It's
wife's
such a
not
show.
too
Same
enamored
with
with
my
it.
wife. Same with my wife. She's not this again. I was like, this made us a lot of money, so a bunch of P's and Q's there. Um, so I was watching it, and I see this on the TV. The sun rays are coming through, and I have a video I'll show you. The sun rays coming through the clouds on the runway. It said, posting a 10,000-foot runway. I was like, Amazon needs a 10,000-foot runway because they just bought a bunch of 767s. And I was like, oh my God. And it's like Stephenville, Newfoundland. I was like, I've been there. I have friends in Stephenville. I've driven the Carolina Avenue next to the airport before, and Hangar 1 is so derelict, but people love taking photographs in front of that hangar. It's beautiful, and it's open. At the time when I went there, it was all like the red flowers in the valley by Gold Pond.
Right.
It just looked majestic. And I talked to the mayor, and he's like, President Carter, Jimmy Carter, said that's the best red carpet they ever received flying into Stephenville because it was all red. Came in the fall, it was just all these red flowers in that area.
Right.
Yeah.
All the presidents have been there except for, I think, Bush and Obama were the last ones that didn't go there. But every other president was there. As it being a former Air Force base, the infrastructure underground is good. We have 18-foot concrete blocks under each section. They're all 3x3 blocks. And they're 1-inch rebar, they're crushed stone, armor stone, concrete sand. These things are strong. They carry C-97 Stratotankers there, ready to respond if a nuclear strike happened. They would be ones refueling the B-52s that were flying overhead. So the infrastructure is there. It is just a massive piece of property.
All right.
And I saw it on TV. I called Minister Parsons, a friend of mine. I said, can you help me get me in touch with someone in Stephenville that I can at least rent some land at the airport? At the time, we had a drone contract. The bank said, well, we're not going to finance your drone contract if you have no place to build them.
Yeah.
I'll just buy an airport. Just jokingly said, I'll buy an airport. Sure enough, we did. So that's how we did it. We like being bold. We like being out there. We try not to be too flashy in what we're doing.
No.
We don't give out a lot of information when we do. I like talking to gentlemen like yourselves who've been in the service that understand there's a level of secrecy that comes with what you're doing. And we don't like publicizing everything because then people steal our ideas. That's happened quite a bit as of late. So we've sort of just rescinded back into this close hold kind of mentality. But for us now, we're so far ahead of any of our competitors in what we're doing that we don't mind sharing a little bit. We won't give out the designs of the aircraft, anything like that. But we're so far down that road now that no one can stop us.
Quick question related to that, if you can share it. What are the distances you're flying these unmanned aircraft?
So we have 2,500 nautical miles, which is about 5,000 kilometers.
Really?
We can do that fully loaded max takeoff weight. Then we put a refueling boom on the aircraft itself. So we can use one of our drones with fuel bladders to be perpetually flying, and we can do our drones. We can refuel them mid-flight. So
Game changing stuff. In a nutshell, what is your vision for Stephenville, that whole area? How do you see it playing out in the next 5, 10, 15 years?
So we want to build it into a tech and innovation hub. We want all these, the Bombardiers, the Boeings, the Lockheeds. We really model ourselves after the greater Wichita partnership in Wichita, Kansas, which is a huge aerospace hub. They have been very kind to us in how they built out. Now, they're a non-for-profit down there, but building out the greater Wichita partnership gave me the inspiration for the greater Newfoundland partnership, Newfoundland-Labrador partnership, I should say. So we sort of model after that. If we can get 10% of their aerospace clientele into Stephenville, it gives us 45 aerospace companies that are in there working with us. And that's United Airline Ventures, that's the Boeings, the Lockheed Martins, all those. They have not committed by no means yet, but we're looking at if we build it, they will come. We haven't even built anything yet. We don't even own the airport, technically, as of today, because we're waiting for that discharge. We've already inspired $30 billion of infrastructure to come into that area. No one heard of Stephenville before we put it on the map. Really, yeah.
So an aerospace innovation hub with up to 40 or 50 companies working in there, sharing ideas.
That's right.
Wow, that's a remark. So if you couple that with what's happening not so far away with green hydrogen, and that whole area is poised to be quite a game changer globally.
Absolutely. And we're looking at Stephenville too as the hub for transport as well. So in acquiring some of the airports, and working with the government of Nunavut now to get those airports, if we can put hydrogen gas stations on those airports in the north, when the Northwest Passage opens to commercial traffic, like we expect to in the next 5-10 years, you're going to save a ship from Shanghai 8,000 kilometers on a journey. They can be rounding, come Baffin Island through Stephenville if the port is there, in Port of New Jersey. By the time there's still a ship on the air side, still trying to make it to Panama.
Right.
So we can take off all that. But having the infrastructure in place with airports and the ports that come with those airports, and then the hydrogen distribution centers up there, we can refuel those big ships coming through. The tariffs are going to be a quarter what they are in Panama. And then, in Panama Canal. And then, being able to do crew changes through the airports, building up the airport infrastructure, hiring more locals, making food deliveries more commonplace. And, God willing, if we ever get Amazon, having a distribution model for Amazon in the north there where a pack of diapers does not cost $925 in shipping, because it does right now.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, Callaway, if you order a pack of diapers, you're paying $925 in shipping.
That's unbelievable.
One pack of diapers.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that way.
One pack.
One pack. Of course, you're not going to order one pack of $9. You're going to order a warehouse size for that price.
Yeah.
That's like a pumpkin is $97. A pumpkin that you would just carve and throw out November 1st is $97. A case of Coke is $100. Why is it so expensive? Because everyone in the supply chain needs to make their money.
Yeah.
But we own the supply chain, then we don't have to worry about all those intermittent costs as we go on.
Now, what we talk about here requires infrastructure, requires bricks and mortar, and which is a wonderful thing for the Newfoundland and Labrador Construction Association and that industry writ large, right? So how do you see it all evolving for these folks? Are they poised at the right time right now to be in the conversation?
I think they are. And our goal is to give Newfoundland and Labrador companies first kick at the cat. We think that's important. We think there's a brain trust here that needs to be tapped into for what we're, obviously it's already well and good. And with Rhonda running this organization, it's been nothing but positive for us. So we're looking to give everyone here the first chance, first right of first refusal, we should say, on all the projects here. If they can't do it, if there isn't someone that does certain widgets for certain things, then we can farm that in. But there's no reason that we can't give everyone here in this association with the membership that's intact here a chance to work this stuff to begin with. It's important. I want to move home to Newfoundland. Our goal is to move home to Newfoundland. But I want the 14 and 15-year-olds now that are in Stephenville to only know opportunity when they graduate next couple of years. I don't want them to go for Murray. I want them to stay here.
Right.
You know?
And ministers talking the same way.
Right? Yeah, and
Yeah.
we probably talked about it,
Yeah.
myself and the minister. We've talked several times about that kind of stuff.
Right.
Then when I have kids like my own 4 or 5-year-old, like I want her to only know opportunity. And if we're living home in Newfoundland, I don't want to think she has to go to Fort McMurray to get a job. I want her to stay here, work here. That's what I want. And I want them, especially in Stephenville area, to say, do I want to be an aerospace technician? Do I want to be a wind turbine technician? Do I want to be an aerospace engineer? Do I want to be an astronaut? Those are the things that we want to build in. Same up north. You know, if we can have a female Indigenous astronaut from Cape Dorset, that's only a win for everybody.
Yeah.
Giving them the opportunity. But that starts with removing some of the stressors in the lives of people up north. Food security, housing security are 2 of those major stressors we want to help solve. We can't solve every problem.
Right.
But if we're contributing in the right way, then the momentum of that alone will bring other changes up north, right?
Again, I go back to quite a visionary. You're making it happen, but you seem to be in that area of Newfoundland at the moment. Seems to be a lot of visionaries out there right now, talking the same language,
Yeah.
including Minister Parsons. I will argue a visionary in his own right through government,
He absolutely
pushing
is.
government to move faster to meet your needs and the like. Tell me this, and we've asked this question before on our podcast. What's in the water out there? Seems like there's something is happening out there. What is it?
I think they feel they've been marginalized for so long that now is their time to shine. Minister Parsons being very innovative. He was one of the first persons I talked to about this airport. We've been friends for a long time anyway. But talking to him when we first looked at this airport, sharing our vision with him and his department, with his ADMs, with his all of his staff in there. Lacey Abbott used to work for Minister Parsons. Now she's with the federal government. She has been instrumental in us sort of getting our legs under us, because it was our first airport. And there was a lot of stuff we had to figure out. We asked Transport, can we buy an airport? Like, absolutely. We're the first ones in the Western Hemisphere to own an ACAO class international airport privately.
Wow.
First ones. The first ones to build these drones of this size in the world. And we work with a lot of other drone companies down south that have helped us sort of get our legs. The mining trucks would be the first fully electric mining trucks, and the size in them and just the efficiencies that they bring. We want to be different in every way. We even looked at how the pilots fly these drones. You're sitting in front of a 27 to 32 inch screen for 8 hours a day. That got to be boring.
Yeah.
Right.
So we have a VR system that they wear over their heads, a full headset, and then we design a haptic suit that gives them real-time feedback. So when you're flying a plane, you feel every vibration, every wind shear, you feel it all. So you're fully immersive as a remote pilot sitting in a C-CAN in Stephenville flying a plane in a Iqaluit.
Wow.
That's fascinating. I was listening to Joe Rogan and Mark Zuckerberg talk about the whole VR, and he was talking about resistance and how the challenge. So that's fascinating to hear that you've got those suits, the
We have a
haptic suits.
patent on that, yeah.
Do you?
So we've been very aggressive, and I come up with these ideas, and I'm like, my staff will say, well, "That's stupid. You're not doing that." But I have 100 ideas a day,
Yeah.
and I'll talk to them, and then maybe one or two will make it past the cut.
Right.
But we come up with these things, and they're like, huh. Like even for the other airports that we're looking to acquire, we plan to have 57 airports under our control the next year. We're building out sort of a club links model where you pay a membership fee to use our airports every year, but you land for free every time. You pay for your gas, you pay for your booze, you pay for your food, but when you land and walk out of that plane, you get the same smile, you get the same level of service, you get the same chicken fingers, the same beer, the same club sandwiches, the same lounge access, the same
Yeah.
service entirely, and then you get on your plane, you go to the next airport. And if that happens in my airport too, good enough. But you pay a membership fee, just like a golf membership
Right.
fee.
Yeah.
When they come around with the beer carts, you're paying for that stuff, but you don't have to pay your fees every time you walk on that golf course because you're part of a Club Link membership.
Right.
But that's disruptive because the BizJet community is one of the fastest growing sectors in the world now, where the markets are financially investing in these single-use, federally regulated properties is, solid gold.
Yeah.
Stuff.
100 ideas a day.
Yes, yeah. At least,
How big is your team to vet all these things? And
we have about 65 people in total
Okay,
now,
yeah.
through the different corporations that we work on.
Right.
But I have such a good group.
Yeah.
We have a lot of young people because they understand the social media trends and stuff these days, how to make stuff go viral, and how we, sometimes the old school mentality, you say something, then you gotta, on-tweet something or answer for 20 years down the road. They really help us with that. How do we say certain words a certain way? So we have a young team, but we also have a mix of like seasoned professionals in these industries. That's important to us, to have that good mix. We also don't like when these people are coming and say, I tried to apply for a job, but you need a 5 years experience for an entry-level position. Making $20 an hour.
yeah.
We take them and give them that
Right.
experience, but they're not obligated to us. Like anyone in my organization is free to move on whenever they want. We treat people the way we want to be treated in what we do. We think it's important to have that corporate culture where it's not all about profits. Like we worked on a project in Ottawa. We had a $3 million project. And they said, do you do cyber and physical security? It's like, I don't do physical as much as I do cyber, but I know a company does cyber. I'm physical, sorry. And at the time, the company was struggling a little bit, so I said, I'll split my contract with them. You don't have to pay any extra, I'll split it. So I split $1.5 million. I said, it's not about how much money we're making now. But then they reciprocated with $3 million more contracts for us
Right.
next year. We saved them from bankruptcy that day.
Yeah.
And they said, thank you so much. And we're still good friends to this day.
Right.
And we've made so much money just off of that. I said, I gave up $1.5 million in September. By December, I had $3 more million in my account because
Yeah.
we worked other contracts for them.
Carl, you're still a very young man. When you were in Army Cadets at Gonzaga, was business really there as something you were gravitating towards?
No.
Because you did 18 years in the military. Wow.
I just thought I had no other skill set, so
But you really grabbed onto the world of business and have made significant strides forward in a fairly short period of time. That's astounding.
6 years, yeah, 6 years we've been in business, but it's a lot of imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. There's a
Yeah.
lot of that.
Yeah.
A lot of naysayers and stuff. Not a lot. There's a half dozen.
Yeah.
But they really get the knives and they're pretty deep on some stuff. I try not to let that stuff bother me.
Yeah.
I don't respond to it because I'm not playing that kind of game.
Yeah.
But I just The Army taught me when I was doing a stand to in the middle of Borden in the middle of a snowstorm when we're having artisans thrown at us. How did I end up in the middle of Borden and 2 feet of snow? And I said, okay, well, that's how I did it. And then in Afghanistan and working in Libya and all those kind of things, it's like, I've been through worse. So, we just carry on, we do it. I've been having these ideas for a long time. I just didn't know how to channel that kind of
Right.
energy.
Right.
And then just momentum just takes you on there.
Yeah.
It's like, I look at stuff as like, how can I make that better? And sometimes they're duds, sometimes they're
It's an instinct, right? You
Yeah,
you have
absolutely.
you have an instinct down deep inside, and fueled by, I would argue, if somebody says, "Well, it can't be done," hold on a second. I'm pretty certain we can do it better than that. Yeah, I'm pretty certain that we can make sure that they don't have to pay $85 for a head of lettuce. Like, that doesn't make sense, right?
And then I say stuff because then I'm obligated within my own mind to make it happen.
Right.
And if I say something out loud, it's already 90%
Yeah.
done in my head. I just got to figure out the last mile of it, and that's how I work it.
The fact that you actually said you suffer from imposter syndrome, Alan and I have had many, many, many people on,
Yep.
and they've talked about that. When I was a younger person, and I've been in sales for 30 years, I always saw people like yourself in successful businesses thinking they're so dynamic, they never question themselves. The revelation, I think, even at our age, is that, wow, someone like yourself who has so much going on, you do second guess yourself.
Every day, even this morning.
Yeah.
Why am I speaking at a conference?
Right.
What makes me so good that I can speak at a conference? That's
Yeah.
just what's in my head every day. It's the anxiety, the adjustment disorder, that Veterans Affairs paid me handsomely for.
Right.
But we want to bring mental health to the forefront, that everyone has a struggle.
Right.
And it's not the same as a broken leg or a sprained finger. Like, mental health is still a health concern, and we want to normalize that, and we do in our organization. We offer a lot of mental health help in what we're doing. We think our employees are the most important part. Clients are all well and good, but if your employees aren't healthy, then your
Right.
clientele are not healthy. And we surround ourselves with only good people to do business with. If someone even comes to us and they're a bit shady and stuff like that, no thanks, we're good. 'Cause I just don't need the negativity in my life, kind of thing. I have an awesome family. I love my
Yeah.
wife and kids are so supportive. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. But they also know that the struggles I go through. I get up at 4 a.m. and get on meetings from Slovenia, and then I'm on till my last meeting in BC every night. And they know, like, I get a little pack of goldfish move across my desk from my 5-year-old saying, "You got to eat your lunch today, Dad."
Wow.
That's the home life I have that makes all this easy. But absolutely, the imposter syndrome is real, because why am I
Yeah.
being in business for 5 years with no experience in business flying an international airport? Why hasn't anyone else done that in Canada? And one of my finance guys is like, he said, I know you didn't do this on purpose, but on paper it looks like you know something everyone else doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Right.
know what that is, but
Well, I would, I mean, there's a lot to unpack there, but I think that your vulnerability, your ability to look at things differently than most others, clearly solid leadership skills. You talk about things in terms of other people, how you make it better for other people. I've never heard you once during this conversation say me or I or anything like that. It's always talking about somebody else. I would argue that's that's where the success comes from, right? Now, this visionary stuff, this is hard to, there's not many people in the world looking at things like you. There are few.
thank you.
There are a few, and everybody knows their names, right? And you've talked to them on the phone, but this is admirable. And it's a wonderful way to end this conversation, because I want to tell you, you've clearly articulated the amazing opportunities that are in front of us. Now it's just up to Newfoundland and Labrador and associations like this to unleash the talent and unleash things and allow this to happen. And let's organically see where this all goes, because I think we're looking at a pretty bright horizon.
And we want to do it without the taxpayer dollars. We don't need their money. We don't want their money. I think people in Newfoundland and Labrador have paid too much for too much
Yeah.
over the years. We're not coming in looking for a handout. It's my vision. It's my idea. Let me prove it. All I'm asking for is patience, is all we're asking for, and support. And it's not going to cost anyone to wait 3 more weeks to see something happen. That's all we're looking for. And And I have such a good team. I have such good support from gentlemen such as yourself, from Rhonda and her team here with NLCA. They treat us so well that the imposter syndrome kind of goes away once I get here and I see that and do the handshakes and see the support and talk to gentlemen like yourselves. That's important to me. I'm very much a handshake kind of guy. So.
Well, I tell you right now, Carl, this has been wonderful. I will say, as the technical guy for this podcast, probably the noisiest time that we could have you sit down here, but that just worked with the schedule. We have really good microphones, but in the post-production, we'll see. I really would like to sit with you again. I'm sure Alan would as well. So hopefully, ladies and gentlemen, whoever's watching, that the audio is good on this. But wow, you are doing some incredible stuff. And we're just so happy that you've chosen Newfoundland, your home, to do some of that. So
expensive way to move home, eh?
Well, it's not the normal trip home, that's for sure, right?
He lives in Charlottetown, so maybe there's an airport in your future, hey?
Yeah, there is. Well,
We've already been talking
by Slemon Park.
Yeah.
I'm going to end the podcast this way, and I often do it on our broader podcast, but for this wonderful conversation that we've just had, it's quite clear that the world needs more Carl Dymond. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Building Newfoundland and Labrador podcast, presented by the Newfoundland and Labrador Construction Association, produced by Gale Force Winds.